Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Since a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy stuff is dropping right now, I thought it'd be fun to take one of the really cool characters from the movie and do a breakdown of them. So this video is going to be all about Ronan the Accuser. There was also some news about the Hulk maybe doing a team-up movie with the Guardians out in space during Phase 3, so I'll explain what's going on with that too. Real quick, hello to all the new people. If you're just finding me for the first time, I do Marvel and DC stuff every week. Be sure to subscribe to get it. Guardians is the next big thing coming, but I try to rotate between Avengers and spin-off movies. So because the Hulk Phase 3 stuff is what everyone's going crazy about right now, I'll do that first. It's pretty straightforward. A couple of news sites are reporting that instead of a standalone Hulk film in Phase 3, Marvel will just use Mark Ruffalo with another team. Right now, the only other big movie team is the Guardians, so he'd go from the Avengers to the Space Avengers, even though the actual Avengers go into space all the time in the comics. Everyone at Marvel totally loves Mark Ruffalo and his version of the Hulk. He's just been saying in interviews that they're not quite ready for another mega solo movie, but they do want to do another non-Avengers Hulk movie, which means team up. And I think that because the Hulk character is so rich with comedy, like at the end of Avengers whenever he punched Thor, he'd work really well in a movie driven more by comedy, like Guardians of the Galaxy. He's not going to be in any post-credits for the first Guardians movie or anything. This would be for the next Guardians movie in Phase 3. There's no date for that right now, but the way they're getting Hulk into space sounds like a modified version of Planet Hulk. So here we have to talk about a bunch of Avengers 2 rumors, but because of a Guardians Hulk team-up, it sounds pretty plausible, so careful for potential spoilers for the end of Avengers 2. You can totally turn the volume down for about a minute, so I'll just wait a second. Everybody ready? Okay, here we go. Okay, so supposedly at the end of Avengers, the solution to Ultron is that they can't kill him. So in order to solve the problem, they pull a Planet Hulk and shoot him into deep space in a spaceship that's meant to double as a prison. Hulk is the one that fights him and gets him onto the ship, but as a result gets stuck as the ship is leaving orbit. And because he doesn't have the Homer Simpson, fat finger dialing wand, he gets stuck going into deep space too. If you haven't read it, you should totally check out the Planet Hulk comic book. They turned it into a cartoon movie too. It's one of the best Hulk stories in the last 10 years. So real quick, let me know in the comments, what do you think about the idea of a Guardians of the Galaxy Hulk team up? I know we haven't even seen their first movie yet, but I'm really optimistic that it's going to be great, and I like the idea of the Hulk being like a journeyman character in the Marvel universe, in the movie universe. So now that we're talking about Guardians, let's move on to Ronan the Accuser. He's being played by Lee Pace, if you can't tell by all the blue Kree makeup. He's going to be the main villain of the movie. I know we've got Thanos and the Collector, two even bigger characters, but supposedly the Collector is going to be more of a neutral figure, and Thanos is only showing up in holo communications. Like he'll be galactic Skyping Ronan, Nebula, and Korath. So who is Ronan the Accuser? He's basically a Kree soldier who's the leader of the Accuser Corps. They're basically the Kree space militia. They're like the Kree version of the Nova Corps. He considers the Xandarians, the race that originated the Nova Corps, to be his mortal enemies, so whenever you see Kree ships descending on Xandar in the trailer, that's Ronan's Accuser Corps attacking the planet. So Ronan isn't necessarily a villain per se, it's just that his goals of eliminating his enemies, the Xandarians, cause him to form an alliance with Thanos in the movie. He's the true villain of the story, and because the Guardians are the protagonists in this movie, Ronan, by aligning himself with evil, is a villain by circumstance. But that doesn't mean that whenever he pops up in future movies, he's still going to be a villain. He's like a Loki character that can bounce back and forth. There have been times in the comics where he teams up with Peter Quill in the Nova Corps, and he even teamed up with Thor in the Avengers last year during Marvel's Infinity storyline. It was really cool. Ronan has this crazy devotion to the people he loves and Crystal, his wife, in the comics, so he's willing to do anything to protect them and her. Sometimes that means aligning himself with heroes and sometimes with villains. So whenever you see him in the movie, expect him to come off as more of an anti-hero or a villain of circumstance. He's still a little bit crazy, but he's not evil. That doesn't mean that he and his teammates, Karen Gillan and Jimon Hansu, won't tear shit up though. In the Kree Empire, he's second only to the Supreme Intelligence. That character is not supposed to be in the movie, or at least it hasn't been confirmed. Most of the Kree we see are blue skin, but those are just the upper class Kree. Ronan is like an aristocrat in his society, which makes him even more of a dick. I don't expect the movie to go too deep into the inner workings of the Kree Empire, but in the Nova comics, he's had a lot of political intrigue thriller stories. The trailers in this movie are really showing him off with his hammer, so I think he's going to spend equal amounts of time speechifying and smashing stuff. I have seen a lot of you guys speculate that because his hammer glows purple in the trailers, that it's somehow connected to one of the Infinity Gems. That would have to be the Space Gem, just because that's the purple gem. If you're not familiar with that one, it's the one that gives the user the ability to manipulate space, as in travel, so it'll teleport you anywhere you want to go. That's actually not what's going on. His hammer in the trailer is just his universal weapon. That's what it's called, the universal weapon. It's the most powerful handheld weapon the Kree have. It's similar to Thor's hammer, it can create force fields, energy blasts, and it gives Ronan the ability to fly. It also has some cool cosmic properties that allow him to transmute matter, so I'm expecting him to warp a bunch of stuff in the movie. It also has some cool safety mechanisms like Thor's hammer too. Thor's hammer can only be used by someone deemed worthy according to Odin's standards. Captain America is one of the few people besides Thor and Odin that have actually been able to use it in the comics. Ronan's hammer can only be used by a Kree soldier wearing the cybernetic armor that you see him wearing in the trailer. If you tried to pick it up and you weren't a Kree wearing that special armor, you'd be shocked to death. And another big difference between Ronan's weapon and Thor's hammer is that there's only one Mjolnir. There are actually many versions of Ronan's hammer, he just has the most powerful one. So the hammer does have properties that mimic some of the Infinity Gem's powers, but it's not powered by a gem. I think that the orb that Peter Quill is trying to steal in the trailers is the actual gem, the space gem. And yes, I do think this movie is going to revolve around an Infinity Gem. Remember, as we progress through each Marvel movie, we have to establish all 6 of the gems, so that whenever we get to Avengers 3, we can do Infinity Gauntlet. Marvel has done a few timey-wimey things with the way they're talking about the gems. They're not actually describing them as physical gems. Odin had that big speech during the Dark World where he said some of them appear as artifacts. I've even heard stories that they're calling the Tesseract one of the gems. In the comics, that's totally not the case. The cube is supposed to be a container for an unknown power source that slowly gains sentience, and eventually it imposes its will on people that wield it. They did kind of tease this in the first Avengers movie with the cube saying things to Hawkeye and Loki. So for now, let's assume that the cube is not one of the gems. But Ronan is basically chasing Peter Quill through the movie to get the orb for Thanos. That's the bargain that Ronan makes. Give Thanos the orb, Thanos destroys the Xandarians, his mortal enemies. So in the trailers, whenever you see Djimon Hounsou going after Chris Pratt, he's playing Korath, he's essentially working for Ronan to get that orb. So I'm really hoping that the movie leaves the Ronan character in a place whereby he can team up with the Guardians in a future movie. They don't have to be best friends or anything. You know, even Glenn Close and John C. Reilly of the Nova Corps think they're a bunch of galactic assholes. But because we haven't even seen the first movie, it's a little too early to speculate on what the second movie might be about. Definitely another Thanos-centric story, but we're just starting to do space-based movies, so there's almost too many options. Usually sequels go deeper into stories involving cool side characters, like Michael Rooker's Yondu. He's more of a space pirate in this first Guardians movie, but I could totally see them introducing the Nova character in a future sequel. I know everyone was expecting Nathan Fillion to play him in this movie, but that's not the case. I do expect to see some Nova Easter eggs. And add to that, if they end up making the sequel movie a Hulk crossover, imagine him fighting Thanos. They actually did that last year in the comics, but in reality, I don't think anyone's going to meet Thanos in physical combat till Avengers 3. Until then, he's going to be like the Emperor in Star Wars, just sitting above it all, watching everyone dance around. So now it's your turn. Let me know, do you think we'll ever see a Ronan the Accuser team up with the Guardians of the Galaxy? And do you believe the rumors about the Hulk crossover with the Guardians? I think it's totally possible. I definitely would like to see a Lee Pace Guardians of the Galaxy team up. If you do want to see more Lee Pace and you've watched Desolation like a billion times, you should watch Halt and Catch Fire. He's not wearing any makeup in it, but it's still pretty cool. So I will be doing more Guardians bonus videos in the next couple of weeks. Be sure to let me know which characters you want me to talk about. I might do Karen Gillan next. She's playing Nebula in this movie, so I cannot wait to see her kick some ass. Be sure to subscribe to get that. I was really sad to see her leave Doctor Who, but I am so happy that she's doing all these big movies now. So click here if you want to learn more story rumors about Avengers 2, and click here to get my breakdown of the last Guardians trailer. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. High fives.